Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Yesterday we watched the announcement stream, or at least went over it, covered it, and today I want to go over the kind of written version and trying to give like maybe a couple ideas that I have for upcoming builds, since this written version, as far as I saw, covers all the new skills. We're just gonna go over it and talk through to maybe get a better understanding how this will all work together and how the future of Path of Exile will look like. But before we start that, I just want to give a couple of yeah, stuff to think about basically, since I've read through a lot of the comments from yesterday's and 2 days ago from the videos, and also I saw some posts about Reddit, or on Reddit, about that GGG basically trying to destroy the player base and stuff like that with the changes from last league, the changes from this league, nerving everything to the ground, making everything like 30-40% less good or less powerful. And what would that mean for the game itself? Maybe I should actually cover this one, my ideas actually, in another video. But the only thing that I really want to tell you guys is don't judge before you play it, okay? No, I'm not a sponsored GGG player or something. This is just my 2 cents, my opinion about it. There has been leagues in the past, since I'm playing this game since like 15 leagues or so, or this will be my 15th league. Leagues looked terrible and turned out to be really good, And there were other leagues that looked super good and turned out like not that good, okay? And this also includes the changes as well. So yes, I know it's terrible if you just know that everything will be nerfed and everything will be hard, right? But on the other hand, I would just not judge it before you play it. Like, if the league launches and then like a week later, I have something in my eye here. God damn it. So if the league launches and like 1 or 2 weeks into the league, when we actually start to run the first like higher tier maps, maybe the first end boss and stuff, then we can say like, okay, this was just too much. I cannot do stuff anymore. Or if it's actually not that terrible, it's just like a bad idea to just go full out and just try to call GGG out how bad they are and that they just want to destroy everything without even trying or testing it, right? Good. Maybe another video on that one. Good. Let's go about the overall things about the 3.15 Expedition League. So, Path of Expedition. In Path of Exile Expedition, you will join the Kalguran Expedition, excavate their lost relics and undead, using chains of explosives, the barter, deal, and gamble the relics with their merchants. Our July expansion contains the Expedition Challenge League for new NPC traders, 19 new skill and support gems, new base item types, and unique items. We've also made massive balance changes to make Path of Exile more challenging, including a full rework of the Flask system, and finally Path of Exile Royale makes its long-awaited return. Yeah, I have been playing a couple games of Royale, but I wasn't going into in depth too much, but I only want to play one game, and I played like 5 or 6 or 7 games. I still didn't make it to the end, but still, it was like a lot of fun. It's very addicting and a lot of fun. I hope this gets some um more attention in the upcoming weeks or in the expansion itself, right? So we can maybe have some tournaments with it or something. That would be actually sick, because this is something a lot of players would do if they're not like into like hardcore solo self-fund races, right? So we would have some other racing stuff or competition. The Kalgura using explosives to excavate their ancestors' settlements throughout Reclast. Overwhelmed by the dangers they unearth, they require your violent services. You must tread. God. Yeah, I know. Every single league, when I'm reading through that, I'm always getting or stumbling across words that I just never heard of or never tried to pronounce or anything like that, so apologies for that. You must Okay. Strategically lay a chain of explosive and detonate them, defeating the undead that rise. Tactical planning is essential, as you must decide what to prioritize in the excavation, carefully balancing your temptation and capabilities. You may choose to unearth chests full of valuable rewards, or to revive the undead, husks of Kalguran explorers, and their treasures. It pays to be mindful of mysterious remnants of Kaguran settlements scattered around the site when detonated. Their modifiers significantly increase the difficulty and reward of your expedition. Usually at this point, I would say, yeah, that's just like the nice idea on how this should work, but in the end, we're gonna have like so insane builds that we're just gonna explode everything at once and just screen wide clears, right? But knowing we're gonna get big nerfs, this looks like more challenging now, and I'm actually looking forward to that. partly of the league mechanic itself, but as I said, I don't want to judge the league mechanic as long as I haven't played it. It looks promising, at least. But with the nerfs, you know, like in Ultimatum, the ultimatums itself was actually sometimes like really hard. So let's take a look at the screenshots. Shouldn't be like just a couple of screenshots of the Kalguran or the undead soldiers with the explosives. The part that reminds me of the Harvest League where I had to like connect everything. But as far as we saw in the live stream, it's just like some circular explosions that you see on the bottom side over here. How many you have left, and then you just like pop them left and right, and then just explode them. And deal with the threats that or the dead that arise, and then just claim their treasures, I would say. Let's see how that works. Trade with the Kalgur. After retrieving ancient ruined artifacts from the expedition site, you may trade them to the Kalguran merchants who seek to recover them. Each is interested in a different varieties of artifacts and offers a unique trading experience for you to try to take advantage of. Gambling, bartering, or bartering. I think there's like another word for bartering. I have no idea. Upselling or exchanging. It's not like flinching or something, but hey, this is the one I'm looking for. Like, I'm just gonna gamble all the leather belts I could find, dude. When the gambler believes not in luck, but that good fortune comes to only those who believe hard enough. Yeah. Rog the dealer is a fearful but earnest man who just wants to make a deal. Tuyen the haggler is open to negotiations but has sort of temper. Denning is the leader of the expedition and wants to facilitate your trades with his countrymen. So let's take a look at these screenshots over here. This is the gamble. You basically just wait. Like, okay, I know that the new league has a lot of things that it has in common with or inspiration with Diablo 2, Diablo 3, right? And as far now as I see the screenshots, wasn't there like gambling as well when you on Geet in Act 1 or something, where it was like literally the same? You could just buy items for gold and they were like blue, rare, or even unique or something. So it will pretty much be the same. I guess it's just about the base. For example, a leather belt could potentially be a headhunter. You know, a heavy belt would be more like what is it, Doriani's something, I think. So it's always important about the base types. I guess if the base type will stay the same if it turns unique, right? So you will not buy a quilted jacket and expect a chevron's wrapping out of it because this is an occultist vestment, right? Then here we have this upgrading thing. Yeah, that was the one where you can put this one in and buy it for a certain price if you take the item, or you can upgrade it and it will basically just slam the item, but it costs your artifact power, something like that. And here you have the negotiation part. So he wants a price for it, and then you can haggle him down. And if you go too low, he will just say like, you know what, fuck off. I don't sell it to you. You're like, because otherwise everybody would just go the lowest and try to confirm it all the time. So it can happen that if you want to have an item and you go too low, that he just say like, yeah, no, I'll keep this item. You're not gonna get it. But you still can haggle it down to have a cheaper price. And that one, here are some of the artifacts: Lesser Broken Circle artifact, Common Black Sky artifact, the Greater Sun artifact, and here the big Grand Order artifact. I guess it's like, I still get an idea that people will say this looks like me. I mean, yeah, okay. Retreat their footsteps. This is now the map device thing, I think, what you're gonna find. So in one hand, you're gonna find artifacts, and in the other hand, you're gonna find those expedition logbook that you can craft later on, where you can go on missions itself. So, during their expeditions, you may discover logbooks. These ancient books chronicle the locations that the ancient Kalgur visited. Find a logbook, craft its mods like a map, bring it to the Danning, and choose the location for your next expedition. These expeditions are much larger than regular ones and harbor many mysterious to explore if you dare. Of course we dare. I mean, that's what we go for, right? So here's just the overview. You put it, you give it to the leader, I guess, and he will then, they're gonna see, like, I think it's multiple ones, you can choose one. I'm not too sure about these icons, if they're like based on the monster types or even based on the loot that you're gonna get. Might be, I have no idea. And in some occasions, you can actually find those bosses. And I gotta say, we're gonna see that in a second anyways. Since I said there's a lot of inspiration from Diablo 2, if we take those three bosses, right? For me, that's the Butcher, you know? This one here looks like the Skeleton King, and this one is more like, what is it called? Maltile or Malkile or something? not Malachi, wait, Malzahel, I think, like the Reaper of Souls dude, right? So this one as well. So I kind of like it still, you know. I guess this is just my opinion here, right? Don't leave me down on those things, but I don't think it's a bad thing taking stuff from Diablo, or even if you copy it, or like anything like that, you know, it is super similar. So I cannot be the only one that sees all these similarities to Diablo, since I played a lot of Diablo, right? But I still actually like it, you know. I actually really like it. So, remote locations, exotic transfers. While planning your chain of explosives and logbook expeditions, you should consider detonating various destructive objects, such as obstacles, might be blocking secret passages leading to ancient terrifying bosses and their valuable treasures. This we have seen in the live stream. This is basically hidden walls, for example, like we have in Delph. You know, you just go to a random location and you see like some crumbling walls, and then you can put an explosive there. It will blow up the wall. You can go inside and just take the treasures, or maybe even meet bosses here. These treasures include unique items and base types that introduce a new defensive mechanic called Ward. When you're hit, your ward is completely depleted and reduces the damage dealt to you by that amount. A few seconds later, your ward replenishes itself and you're protected from from the next hit. I don't know, like, it seems like it's kind of like an energy shield, but it will deplete itself and refresh itself. So actually kind of energy shield. But as far as I see it, it's only for one hit. I think ward is a good thing for like dodge builds, for example, where if you get hit, you would actually not get one shot. So a one shot, like a defensive mechanics to prevent one shots, right? But I think that's like might be insane for bosses, because if I'm mapping, I get hit so often, but only small hits, for example, right? And if a single hit will deplete all my ward, then, you know, I get hit 10 times, one will be blocked by ward, and the other 9 will actually tickle me, kill me, whatever, right? So here we have increased interactions maximum energy shield instead applied to ward. This is actually not bad. It's just bad it's a helmet, because helmets are very important slots, right? But that would mean if you're playing a life-based build, sometimes you have some energy shield, right? Let's say you have 6k life and you have like, I don't know, like 600 energy shield from like any kind of sources. Maybe you play like a life build and have like some sorcerer boots or anything like that. And if you can convert those into ward, it would actually help you, right? I mean, yes, energy shield does help you too on a life-based build, but only like, you know, you can strictly ignore it. If you have 300 energy shield and 6k life, then you will never have energy shield, because you cannot even get it back, since there is no energy shield leech when you play a life-based build. But this can actually convert this useless energy shield on a life build to be something useful with this ward, right? Then we have here Battle Mage, never deal critical strikes. The first thing I was thinking about was Hex Blast would be like super nice, because Battle Mage is, I think, unique to Inquisitor class. Now it can be on every class with this helmet here, with Battle Mage. And here we have another base type. This is just like Runic Graves, which is a ward base type. So no armor, no evasion, no energy shield, but ward. Which I kind of like, that there is a fourth defensive mechanic, like base type, right? Like armor, evasion, like dodge and stuff like that. Physical damage mitigation, energy shield is the highest value, but you don't have mitigation at all. And ward will probably just be another type that we could maybe build in. Nobody knows how it exactly works, but we're gonna find it out, and then we can decide if it's actually good or not. Oh, coffee. 19 new gems. That's insane, actually. Alongside Expedition, we are revitalizing Path of Exile's build metagame by both introducing many new playstyles and augmenting existing builds with powerful new tools. We've created 19 new skill gems and support, like new skill and support gems, so not only 19 active skill gems, it's support and active, that are designed around the themes of each Ascendancy class. I really like this. A new skill inspired by the Ascendant, Spectre Helix throws out Spectre copy of a weapon which spirals outwards from you. There are the level 1 gems in there, but to be honest, the only thing that's interesting here is maybe the attack, so you know how to scale it. Because I'm a build creator, I would say, right? I do play so many different builds, and I tried a lot of different builds. But what can I do with this information? I know it's an attack, I know it's a projectile, and I know it's base attack damage. So it's not like a physical thing or something, right? It's just based on your weapon. So you could play this elemental base. You could play this whenever you want, right? But the thing is, we have builds from the past that have the same attack projectile, right? For example, normal Spectral Throw, I think, has also the same. So if you would say, yo, this skill looks so good, I really want to play this, you can definitely look into older builds, like very good Spectre throw builds, for example, and just gem swap the Spectra Helix in, because it's the same scaling, right? You have attack, projectile, and it scales the same way. So you can just use a previous build and just redefine it with a new skill without any big creations here. But yeah, but that's the hammered in, pretty much the hammered in build. Strength in Combat, inspired by the Marauders, Juggernaut, Berserker, and Chieftain Ascendancy classes, we've created the Bone Shatter and Rage Vortex skill and the Earthbreaker support gem. Bone Shatter strikes enemy with a forceful blow. If it attacks stun, the enemy releases a powerful shockwave with area based on the stun's duration. As you Bone Shatter more, it deals more and more damage to enemies and to yourself, okay? Rage Vortex consumes your rage to unleash a whirling vortex and repeatedly hits enemies within its range. The Earthshadow support summons an ancestral totem that uses the supported slam skill. So I'm also like have to say, we watched the live stream, or at least if you haven't, then I would really suggest you to watch, because you're gonna see all these skills in action. For me, the Bone Shatter, I don't know, I have never played a stun build. I was never interested in a stun build. Maybe at some point, like, just like from my own experience, I will not play anything like that on the league start, okay? At least not Bone Shatter. Maybe at some point in the league that I say, like, you know, we're 1 month into league, let's try one build with Bone Shatter, see how it works out. But I don't see this as my league start or anything like that. The Rage Vortex looks pretty cool in the first hand, but the thing that I didn't like is that you have one, like maximum one Rage Storm, which means you cannot like spam this ability and shoot out this Rage Storms, right? The Earthbreaker support for me looks the most insane, because we've seen the footage where he had like a chieftain with like what was it? Tectonic Slam totems, right? And that was insane. Tectonic Slam has an insane clear area, or at least the area of effect with clearing, right? But if you have like multiple totems, the entire screen will burn. It actually looks really, really cool. So basically, my favorite of the Marauder class would be the Earthbreaker support. A Champion of Contest, inspired by the Duelist, Champion, Gladiator, and Slayer Ascendancy classes, we've created the Defiance Banner and Shield Crush skill gems and the Behead support gem. Defiance Banner is a new defensive tool that can be used to increase your armor and evasion while reducing the critical strike chance of nearby enemies. Shield Crush swipes your shield towards your enemies and sends out forceful waves of damage, and based on the stats of your shield. The Beheaded support gem can only support strike skills and is basically like a mini headhunter. When you support the strike skill of your enemy, you steal one of its modifiers at random for 20 seconds. We know already that this one, it doesn't stack. Okay, at least that was what we saw in the live stream. You kill one rare enemy, you're gonna steal one buff, 20 seconds, one random buff, so it's like an inspired learning, basically. But the thing is, if you kill a second pack, it will not give you 2 stacks, it will just remove the old one and give you the new one, while inspired learning will give you 1 extra, and while Headhunter will give you all the buffs, So I don't think that this will actually be, like, it's kind of the same as the replica Headhunter, where people said, like, yeah, it's like the cheap Headhunter and stuff, but I don't know. It's just not the same, and I think this Behead support gem is actually quite the same. Like 1 buff from a rare pack, and that you cannot even stack. I don't think this is actually good. Shield Crush, maybe as an addition. Now as a C5 to 7 attack physical damage per 15 armor, that's like twice as much as a Spectre Shield Throw. But the thing is, how will it feel like? Because visually, this is the skill, by the way, it looks like Shield Charge. And if I think about, I have like this small area just in front of me. Even if it deals hilarious amounts of damage, maybe you can use like Spectre Shield Throw as your clearing skill, and then what's it called, the Shield Crush for your single target. But other than that, it didn't really blow my mind too much. And then we have the Defiance Banner, which I would say, as somebody that I use banners on almost every melee build, Dread Banner, War Banner for accuracy and stuff, but in all those years, I never placed them. I know I get buffed when I put it down, but I just don't use it. I don't know, like, it's probably bad playstyle, but in the end, I've never seen anybody using it. They always have it for the passive effect, but never, like, stack it. I have 50 stacks, I'm gonna put it down for the extra effect. Like, who cares about that? Just me, right? So, on those, I would actually say maybe my favorite would be Shield Crush in the combination with Spectre Shield Throw, since I'm a Spectre Shield Throw main, yeah, obviously. I really like Spectre Shield Throw, and this would actually just maybe get in some extra single target damage with it, right? With the same scaling from the shield, and then you go like cold conversion with like hatred to just boost the damage of it by a quite ton, because this has like double the damage, the base damage from Spectre Shield Throw. Then we have Swiftness in Hand. Inspired by the ranges, Raider, Pathfinder, and Deadeye Ascendancy classes, we've created the Storm, Rain, and Explosive Concoction skill gems, and the Focus Ballista support gem. Storm Rain fires arrows that stick into the ground. These arrows periodically pulse with lightning damage that arcs to nearby arrows. Focus Ballista causes your ballista to focus fire on your target and only fire when you do. Explosive Concoction must be used unarmed and throws an explosive projectile at your target. You can enhance this explosion by consuming charges from Ruby, Sapphire, Topaz, Flasks. So, this one pretty short actually. Storm Rain looks for me like Rain of Arrows, just as a lightning version. Nothing too sick actually, maybe a bit more area of effect clearage with the arcs that are swapping between the arrows, right? Then we have the Explosive Concoction, reminds me of the Assassin, where you actually throw your flasks. I have no idea about that. That could be maybe for bosses like, you know, like, what do you say, when multiple hits on the same target, like shotgunning or something. Maybe this is a thing to like blast bosses for mapping. I don't think this is like too insane. I don't know. And the Focus Ballista, this is a weird thing. In one hand, it's good because you can focus, you know, the target that you want to kill, but realistically, you have a GMP, like if I compare it with my accuracy stacking Ballista totems, because this is the only Ballista totem skill that I ever played, right? You have like GMP and stuff, and you're just gonna put down your totems, and they clear so heavy that you don't need any focus, because if everything else is dead, you're gonna focus the target that's left over anyways. And for bossing, there is only one target, right? So I don't know where there's a situation where you don't want to have your totems shooting and only on the target that you want. At least maybe there is one spot or two bosses where I see like this could come in handy, but making an entire build around like for two bosses or something, I don't really like this idea, and I think you can clear all the content with a typical Ballista skill as well, right? Questionable. Didn't got me up too hard or hyped too much. Maybe the Storm Rain as a better version of the Rain of Arrows. Then a Guilty in Shadow, which is the Shadow version, obviously. Inspired by the Shadow's Assassin, Saboteur, and Trickster Ascendancy classes, we've created the Ambush, Blade, Trap, and Voltaxic Burst skill gems. Ambush is a new blink skill which teleports you to an enemy, blinds them, and exerts your next one-handed melee attack, which counters the Shadow Step from World of Warcraft. When you use Blade Trap, you throw out a mechanical device with 2 copies of your weapon attached. These blades spin rapidly in a circle a set number of times, dealing damage to anything they pass through. Voltaxic Burst grants a buff which counts down to 0, at which point it detonates, sending out a damaging lightning and chaos explosion. Enemies slain by this explosion will also explode, dealing lightning and chaos damage based on a portion of their life. So, Ambush, as I said, like is kind of a Shadow Step, which is kind of cool for... It's like weird. You know, I'm so used to like dash with like second wind, you know, and even if you have the alternate quality, you have like 4 charges or something, right? And if you need to go to the target, I just dash towards it. It's just questionable how insane this... Maybe on a slam skill, maybe, where you just want one single hit that hits like a truck. Maybe even a bleed skill or something, or just like an on-hit, a slam, as I said, that exerts your skill as well, right? Maybe that's like a thing where you just like run away, you step in, you just crush them one time, you dash out, they just like die from one hit or just bleed to death or ignite, maybe, like, who knows, right? Blade Trap, I'm not a Blade or Mine or a Trapper player, I have no idea. And then Voltaxic Burst sounds pretty cool because it has an explosion built in. And skills with explosions end up usually being really good. Normally as League Starter, maybe like a super speed clearing variation until you get your Impulsor or your Explosive Chest. But since the Explosive Chest got nerfed last league, so it's not 100% anymore, this could be pretty cool actually. Then we have, I think that was the skill actually that looked like a Dark Pact, or I think that was on the Occultist side. We're gonna see. Power in Darkness. Themed around the Witch Occultist, Elementalist, and Necromancer Ascendancy classes, we've created the Forbidden Rite, Eye of Winter, and Summon Reaper Scale Gems. Forbidden Rite fires a barrage of exploding chaos projectiles at nearby enemies while also inflicting damage on you. The Eye of Winter is a large projectile that fires around cold projectiles in a spiral formation as it travels. Summon Reaper is a new minion that feeds off your other minions, literally. It inflicts bleed on enemies and can command attack specific locations. So this is really good. I like all of these. So on one hand, Forbidden Rite, this is actually probably going to be my league starter because it looks amazing. It's similar to the Spirit Barrage of the Diablo 3 Witch Doctor, but I think I think at the moment it would scale the way as the Dark Pact would scale, an on-hitting ability. I would actually use this to maybe ignite or poison, and then actually maybe get this into a cast when image taken setup with the Herald of Thunder to just run around and have your Forbidden Rite blast the entire screen or something. Like, I have some really cool ideas. I have no idea if they're gonna work out or not. Then the Eye of Winter, which is basically the Frozen Orb of Diablo 2's Sorceress. Really cool skill, really good. I think this is actually going to be one of the most played skills early on or throughout the league, because I know a lot of people that played Frost Orb, and we always want to have like this Frost Orb skill back, and now we actually have it. The MTX should come in very fast, to be honest, because the standard watery kind of skill doesn't look really good, but I couldn't definitely imagine some Celestial Eye of Winter that just blasts the entire screen even better than Winter Orb does. And then we have Summon Reaper. This looks fantastic, but for the first initial views that we had on the live stream, it looks slow, and I'm not a minion player, you know. I would just think about other content creators that play a lot of minion builds, like the Game Report, like Ethan or Gassy or somebody. They will probably get their hands on those things pretty early. I cannot see myself, with the amount of skills that we're gonna get released now, I don't see myself playing a Reaper build at all or very late, because, you know, I like this. Like, I would definitely go for Forbidden Rite, but thinking about Summoners is like something I can maybe try out at some point. Then Righteous in Battle, inspired by the Templar's Hierophant, Guardian, and Inquisitor Ascendancy classes, we've created the Mana Bond, Absolution, and Battle Mage's Cry skills. Mana Bond creates a rune that explodes, dealing more and more more damage or having more area of effect based on the current state of your mana pool. When Absolution damaging shockwave kills an enemy, it creates a Sentinel of Absolution, which is also cast on its own shockwaves. Battle Mage's Cry taunts nearby enemies and exerts subsequent attacks, causing them to trigger a linked spell on your next melee hit. So I think we had already like the Storm Mine or something. This is a skill that got released like a league ago or 2 leagues ago, where it had like this kind of like area of effect coverage where you could like load up your runes on the floor, and the more you load them up, the bigger they got, and then the explosion. I think it's gonna be similar. I really like the idea that you have actual skill gems for archetypes, and when I say archetype, I mean mana stacking. Archmage, for example, Mind Over Matter, Agnostic, all those things now have an actual skill gem that they can use, because those kind of builds have like ridiculous amounts of mana, like 8, 9, 10,000 mana, and I think this is actually going to be quite interesting to play with it. Then Absolution, this reminds me of this, there are Dominating Blow summoners, I think. I've never played one of those, but a friend of mine said like this is really good. I think this is pretty much similar, just like better clear. It looks a little bit like a Herald of Thunder Auto Bomber with this Absolution strikes or lightning strikes coming down. Might be actually quite funny if you're like into those kind of builds where you like summon your minions. And then you have Battle Mage's Cry. Sounds pretty cool. You actually attack, and then you would cast something that is socketed into it. You know, you could like, I don't know, like Flicker Strike, Firestorm or something. So you flicker in, you get the Firestorm down, you know. This might be actually quite interesting and quite fun to play, depending on what is your attack skill and what is your caster or spell skill that you can then combine. Maybe, like, even maybe Forbidden Rite, you know, like Cyclone Forbidden Rite, for example. So you don't need like a cast while channeling or a cast on crit. You can actually use this Battle Mage type, and then maybe even the Helm that gives you Battle Mage. So you're just stacking ridiculous amounts of flat lightning damage, and you get this spell damage. So you scale both your on-hit Cyclone damage and your spell that you have in there. It's because nobody says you have to play Forbidden Rite as Chaos skill, right? Maybe you should, but you know, Path of Exile, you can convert like every skill into anything else, or let them do other things, you know? If I add like 10,000 lightning damage to this one, it will deal ridiculous amounts of lightning damage. Then, making Path of Exile more challenging. Expedition is Path of Exile 30th release since closed beta, and I'm like playing 15 of those. In almost every update, we provide new ways to improve your characters, more effective skills to use, and ways to craft better and more powerful items. The power level of endgame Path of Exile characters has increased tenfold since launch. From this expansion onwards, we are working to restore some of the challenging that Path of Exile is known for. In addition to a substantial Flask rework, we're reducing the power level of pure damage support gems, making triggered skills cost more mana, tweaking the most powerful movement skills, and making them enemies in Path of Exile's first act much more dangerous. Our work to improve the level of challenge in Path of Exile will continue across subsequent expansions. I know a lot of people will disagree, but I like it. I actually like it. It is right what Chris Wilson said. Every single league, we get more and better powerful tools, you know? Back in the days, like in, let's say, Incursion League, we didn't have anything. We had like Shaper, and I don't even know if Elder was there. I think it was like later, or... No, Elder Shaper was like 3.0. Doesn't really matter. In the end, we now have like so much more things that we can do. There was no influenced items. There was only Shaper and Elder, but no Explo Chest, no Hunter, Influence, Chaos Dot. Like, builds were good from the back in the day standards. And when I talked to a friend of mine that played like 10 years ago, more or less, or at least like 7 years ago, 2013 Path of Exile launched, you know, he told me people were farming Blood Aqueducts for blue items to get alterations, you know, and rare items for getting Chaos Shards and Alchemy Shards and stuff like that, you know? This is something I haven't played back in the days, but just listening to those people saying, like, it was actually hard. They were doing Dominus runs, for example, like act bosses, you know? It's ridiculous. And this is basically, I don't want to flame here. I just want to give a good comparison for me, right? I know Kripparrian is the most insane Path of Exile player from back in the days known to mankind. Let's say it like that, you know? But nowadays, you know, I'm a new Path of Exile player. I haven't played in those old days, you know? And I know the story of Kripparrian, and I know he's like one of the sickest dudes that ever played the game, you know? But when he streams and I stumble upon his stream, I feel like I'm not watching, like... As I said, don't get me wrong, guys. I don't want to flame here or anything, right? But if I watch Kripparrian, I'm like, yeah, this is actually nothing special. I know he's like the absolute best, sickest dude ever in PoE. And then I watch his stream and I'm like, yeah, I mean, he could do a lot of things better just because I'm the new age PoE kid, more or less, right? I know he's not playing a lot anymore, or he does play, but not as much as he used back in the days. So he just doesn't keep up with the newer Path of Exile. I just want to like really straight this. It was just the best example that I can come up with. Now I'm saying like Kripparrian now, and maybe like Mathil today, for example, or Mathil back in the days, you know? It just like the time goes on and things get easier and easier and easier just because we get more and more and more power spike, you know? Back in the days, doing like in my build showcases from like 3.2 Best Year League, for example, I was always like proud if I could do Guardian maps, you know? A Minotaur map is a map showcase, and maybe if the build is good, I will do a Shaper as well, right? Nowadays, what is a Guardian map? Like, nobody cares about Guardian maps anymore. You just run through, you just kill the Minotaur that used to be, like, actual, like, a super, super hard boss. Not like a map boss, he was actually, like, a real boss. And nowadays, it's just like, yeah, just kill it, man. Like, whatever, you know? And that's what I mean. The power spike, every single league, more tools, more power, but the game is still the same. And that's why I say it's a good thing that we actually get still more power spikes, but we lower it down again. So we're actually gonna get a more challenging game, because in the end, what is a Guardian map, you know? And this, I know some people will now comment like, yo, mbX, not everybody has the time to play like you, and if I play 2 hours a day, for example, or maybe 3 hours in an entire week, you know, I will not even get to Guardian maps, you know? Like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But PoE is one of the very few remaining games that are super, super intense, grindy. And I sometimes like wonder when people are just not having the time. I'm not sure if Path of Exile is the right game. Because since I'm like over 30, I'm over 30, okay? And I have played a lot of games from back in the days, Diablo 1, Diablo 2, and all these kind of things, you know, World of Warcraft, and so on. The thing is, like, as far as I see, the games start ridiculously hard, but then the game creators always go like, oh, we need to make it more casual friendly, because the casuals are the big, great thing, you know, and that's why make everything easier, right? Which is a true fact. It's good that it is that way, but some of the games, that's why I think Path of Exile is that great. They remain that grindy. So if you, it's like a very rewarding game if you stick a lot of time in it. And if I would only have like, I don't know, like 5 hours to play in an entire week, like every day, like an hour after work or so, I would just not play Path of Exile. This is just my honest opinion about it. It's just too grindy, and it pays off if you grind. And if you don't grind, you will just always be behind. This is like kind of sad, but it is true in the end, right? So the Flask system rework, we have substantially reworked Path of Exile Flask system with the goal of reducing the level of permanent players' power that Flask grant, and promoting consistent Flask choices that incentivize interacting gameplay. The new Instancing Orb allows you to modify your utility Flasks so that they trigger on certain conditions. The Enkindling Orb provides a boost to your utility Flasks in exchange to preventing charge gain while they are active. We also reworked many flasks and introduced new gold and corundum flasks. This is something we have to look out for. Like, I'm somebody, you know, I played the game 1 to 3 for 5, 1 to 3 for 5, go in the next pack, 1 to 3 for 5, and if I ran out of flasks, like, whatever, you know? So the idea to just let flasks trigger themselves, like, you have a bleed immunity flask, right? The thing is, like, I charge into a pack, I see that I'm bleeding, I'm just pressing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes I don't even know which of my flasks does have the bleed immunity because I don't care, you know? But having it this way to be like an active trigger, you're bleeding, get the flask going, and don't use it if you're not. Which is, I kind of like this idea. But in the end, I just have to test this out, how this actually works. But I think ailment immunity will become way more intense, or way more valuable, basically, than having all those flasks. And in the end, Pathfinder used to be, or is, one of my most favorite ascendancies. I have no idea how this is going to work out as a Pathfinder, so I don't want to say too much about that. Good, and the Path of Exile Royale, which is the new PvP system, it returns. It's really good. I don't want to do too much content about that, so I don't want to make the video like another 10 minutes longer as it already is, because the Royale, it's basically a PvP chicken dinner thing, like Battle Royale, so 100 players enter, you start level 1, and there is different skill trees that are only there. All these cool items will get down to level 3, for example, for Cloak of Defiance, which used to be like level 52 or something. So it's definitely a lot of fun. It's basically a PvP event. You kill other players, you get their loot, and then you have to be, or you want to be, the last one standing, which is very, very fun, very addicting. And I hope we're going to see some more competitive approach to this entire thing, with leaderboards and actually people caring about it, and not only like, yeah, I know there's a leaderboard for PvP too, but how many people will go to Act 3 and enter the arena, the Sun Arena? Like, yeah, I've been there like 3 times in like 4 years of PoE, right? And then new supporter packs that we probably gonna cover in another day, I guess. This is like the Viking themed and the Anubis themed supporter pack. They look pretty cool. I have not purchased them yet, so I cannot really show any footage of that. But keep in mind, if you buy there should usually be like smaller parts and bigger parts, so you would actually be able to buy the 31, and if you then want to have the 61, you don't need to pay 60, you just have the 30, and then you upgrade for another 30 for the total of 60, basically. And that actually goes for, oh wait, there is now 3 packages. Oh, okay, that's new. So we have 30, 60, and 90. Because it usually be 30 and 60, so they actually added a 3rd one, which is okay, I guess. But in the end, like, $90. I mean, what should I say? I bought over 100 supporter packs already, you know? And I'm also gonna get those, but $90, that's like a full game release of any game, you know? Like, supports like MTX are just ridiculously expensive. Alright, guys, let me know in the comments what you think about the Expedition League. What are your thoughts and hopes and feelings about the new support gems and the nerfs and the skills and whatnot. And yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.